Part of the ICP myth is that they came from southwest Detroit, really hardcore part of town, really gritty. They grew up in a gang environment.
You say you're from Detroit, they either think, one, it's like, you know, oh, it's gotta be, it's terrible there, huh? It's Murder City.
Drug sellers, you know, gangs, prostitutes, bums, you know, and thieves. It was bad, you know. Not a nice place to live, and you know, gunshots all through the night.
Well, they were troublemakers. They were young whippersnappers, I guess some people would call them. But they weren't tough gang guys from southwest Detroit, no.
They wouldn't be able to walk around them streets with, you know, clown makeup on and that sort of thing. You know, they wouldn't be able to do that because they'd get shot.
What they'll tell you is that they're just agents of some higher force, what they call the Dark Carnival.
My name is Violent J, and this is Shaggy. Shaggy Too Dope. Where this born?
Stop.
Right here.
Hey, you.
There's no place I'd rather play than Detroit City, because they have been down with the clown since 1992 when we came out. And I'm down with Detroit, and this is the official clown town.
Stop. Right here. Hey, you.
The bottom line is this. They can't stop Insane Clown Posse. All they did was throw gas on the fire by trying to silence us. It doesn't matter if we're with Island. It doesn't matter if we're with Hollywood. It doesn't matter if we're with Booty Butt Records. There's no stopping Insane Clown Posse, and there's no stopping the Dark Carnival, and that's the bottom line. Nobody can ever stop this.
On our mouth, but instead they put a megaphone up to it.
Well, first you got two guys dressed up as clowns spraying the crowd with Faygo, which is, you know, right there is kind of an oddity.
I think the roles they play on and off stage, Violent J is kind of the loudmouth, rambunctious one. Shaggy Too Dope is more of the quiet, brooding guy, kind of the ladies' man in the group. And so there is a yin and yang there to what they do. That's not to say they don't both go over the top when they're on stage. You'll see some pretty wacky antics from ICP.
There's no stopping ICP. There's no stopping the Dark Carnival. I got 3,000 juggalos out there making sure that anybody wants to try to stop me, say it to my face. You can't stop Insane Clown Posse. Not on your deathbed will that happen. Woo! Right, brother?
That's what I'm saying.
We had 2 sold-out ICP shows. Wow. The audience pretty much goes insane. They're good kids that come and see them. They're not rowdy kids. They don't fight, but you need a lot of security just to protect them from hurting themselves because they get a little too excited.
Fan base is young, mostly white male, suburban. The same kids who follow professional wrestling, tractor pulls, and these kinds of things. They're more akin to a metal band in a lot of ways, in the sense of that hardcore edge and that the gore and darkness part of it.
Think about it. You try to censor a band, America doesn't want it. They don't want to hear that. That's why we're blowing up. That's why we're selling out every venue we go to, because you can't censor anybody. It's not about ICP. We're just surfing the wave, that's all. You can't censor nobody. Disney can't even stop this giant. Not even the colossal giants they are. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. I grab Mickey and I grab Donald and I bang their heads together, wicked clown style.
They would do things like, they had a song about where they would cut off a teacher's head, and they had a fake head they would just throw out onto the crowd.
Because today's music is what we do. This is today. Watch TV. On sitcoms, for example. On sitcoms now, they say the word bitch every 5 minutes. They say asshole. Look at what's happening today. People are getting into more explicit stuff, you know?
Describe their music? You can't, man. It's two clowns throwing Faygo. I mean, there's real no description.
Faygo's actually, it's a soda with many different flavors. It's made here in Detroit. They just have a lot of different flavors.
Faygo and the Clowns. I wouldn't mind having some Faygo in my mouth and some clown sausage there too at the same time.
That sucks, you know what I mean?
Faygo's nice. And then afterwards jump in the shower and wash it off because it gets very sticky very quickly.
I fucking love them. They're awesome. Everybody keeps saying awesome. Come on. Because their music is so good.
The Faygo!
It's entertainment. It's what it is.
Besides the Faygo, probably the trampolines on stage, bouncing off the trampolines out to the crowd. That's always been kind of insane.
Yeah! You know, these guys would never admit it, but ICP really does come from a rich Detroit legacy of shock rock, going back to Alice Cooper, Iggy Pop. Kiss was huge in Detroit. So there's always been a tradition here of this kind of over-the-top showmanship, anything for shock value. And they really ride that on stage.
I don't know why they're using diet. Maybe it's stickier. Maybe it bubbles better. But yeah, I think at the gathering they were using diet root beer in the bottles. But is there significance to that?
Oh, it's total comics, man. It's cool. It's awesome, man.
We've been having an overwhelming amount of success this whole tour. I'd say like 75% of every venue has been sold out.
It just appeals to you, man. It's awesome. It's like, man, it's like total power. It's like total power. ICP, man, rules.
Early 90s, I was running a club on the east side called the Ritz. They came to me saying what a great draw they were and I should book them. They're the best thing in Detroit. I heard that from every band at the time.
Number 4, you got that next large?
Yes, I do.
That's where I saw their merchandising, man. They sold so much merchandising, it was beyond comprehension. They have so many different hats, t-shirts, keychains, necklaces, and they were selling like mad.
I held the stand-up over there. Oh, it was funny. We had it was in the edition during the in-store, and very hot commodity at the time. It was incredible, and it disappeared. fan craziness. Looked one day, it's there. Next day, it's gone. I think a fan had to have it, so got their autograph, and out they went. It was a lot of fun. Everybody had a good time. You know, unfortunately, their trailer had a little piece of talk about being obsessed. The little piece of their logo tore right off the trailer, but that's ICP. You know, their items the merchandise is a hot commodity. You know, so with that, craziness happens. Things disappear. It creates legs, and away she goes.
The thing that set them apart was they said, I'll pay you to play here. We'll rent the building, whatever you need to do, we'll prove to you what we're all about. so obviously they put their money where their mouth is. Ended up doing a gig with them. They sold out. I was amazed, and I've been dealing with them ever since.
All these kids know the whole story of ICP long before Mickey Mouse came involved in it. They know the story about the Dark Carnival, and I love these kids, and these kids love us back, and this is the home of the Juggalos, and that's why we're here. We'll always play Detroit. We'll start and end tours in Detroit, and this is what we're all about, Detroit City. That's our whole backbone.
Fuck Disney! I've been down with ICP since they first started, baby. I got that 4 years ago. ICP forever. I love ICP. They are the shit. I grew up by them. They're just the man. We live by their word. Him too, baby. They are just too cool. They're nice people. We've met them umpteen times. I'm getting more tattoos. ICP forever. Forever. They're just wicked. It's the shit. It's the shit. It's fucking awesome.
Been down with them since day one. Live by their words every day. They know what they're talking about.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
They're good kids. They're not. It's not a violent crowd. I remember back in the day, they used to go to every high school in the Tri-County area, and I'm talking 300 or 400 high schools. And they would go with a couple cars, pop the trunk open, and pass out a cassette sampler to all the kids. And you know, every day they would hit a couple new high schools, and that's how they built their audience. And you know, that was very impressive.
When ICP would have a show in Detroit, they wouldn't go to the club and say, look, we want to have a concert here. Can we come in and we'll give you a cut of the door? They would go in and they would rent the club for themselves because they knew they had this fan base that would come in and pay whatever X amount of dollars to get in. So they didn't have to worry about selling, you know, a certain amount of tickets to break even. So they would rent the facility. They would, I remember specifically at the live broadcast that I had a broadcast before the show. During their show, I had to hide in another room because it was so loud I couldn't broadcast live. And then their show would end like at 6:30 in the evening because it was young kids. Then we'd have to shut the club down, clean up, and then bring the club crowd in. But I mean, it was a mess. I mean, those guys tore the clubs up. I mean, they would be popped, there'd be shit all over the walls. It was just crazy.
I've done shows with them for years and let them do it, and then just recently, you know, we got brand new carpeting and we did some renovations here, and I told them, I said, guys, I can't have you play here as long as you do the Fago. So they haven't played here since. That was a couple years ago, but I still talk to them and we still do stuff together once in a while. We just did an after party for them a couple weeks ago here. So, I mean, the line of communications is still open.
I love ICP! Been down for 8 years! 8 years! Down with the clown! Wu-Tang! They're crazy! Nutty! And I'm Ninja Master Phil! Yeah. Shogun Matt, baby! Yeah. Shogun Matt! Remember that! I'm fucking ninja! Hey,
these guys have built their following at a really grassroots level, and while I wouldn't exactly call them superstars, they do have a credible fan base, I think.
Detroit is the home of the insane clown posse. There's 3,000 juggalos out there that will testify to that. This is where we're from. This is where it started.
In the old days, Detroit truly was a music capital. Back in the 60s when you had Motown, so many other things going on. Here in the city, I think it was easier for artists to make it out of Detroit. Now with the record industry based on the two coasts, you've got Detroit smack dab in the middle with a reputation as a dying or dead city. Artists have had to work a lot harder to get out of here. They've had to sort of shout to get their voices out there, and I think that's what these three have done, ICP, Eminem, and Kid Rock. It took a lot of hard work. It didn't happen overnight.
For a while there, it was pretty stagnant, but those three artists right there pretty much put it back on the map. So there's been a lot of attention paid to the city lately.
The local music scene in the last couple of years has exploded. A lot of that has to do with ICP.
You probably wouldn't understand me. I'm walking on the edge of sanity. Got this game wrapped tight, Carlo Gambino and family. The microphone mafiosa, come closer. I'm swinging on these MCs like my name was Sammy Sosa. Out the park, see hot sparks fly when I ignite. Combustion is internal when I sit down and I write. These lyrics is like new millennium, pandemonium. Highly explosive like an ounce of plutonium or an MX missile. I'm fat like gristle. I get up on the stage and make the microphone sizzle. What's the dizzle? You ain't Rizzle. I'm carving out my name in big block letters on your head like a chisel. I would say that Detroit is a good place to live. There are negative things going on there, but there's also a lot of positive things going on there. But there are a lot of, there's a dark side to it too. I would say just like any big city. Anything you see on TV, portrays a pretty good picture of it. Just every day you wake up, the whole neighborhood is bad, and every day it was just, it was just like cowboys and Indians, just bang bang, and so yeah, I mean, but this is the killer right there. Almost lost my leg, and I used to rap about just what you would hear NWA, like you said, guns, bitches, hoes, drugs, streets, drinking 40s, smoking weed, killing people, and that sort of thing. And rap about it in a glamorous sort of way, glamorizing it, because that was the way that I lived for a long time, and that's the way I thought. Today I try to send out a positive message that if you're in whatever situation you're in, bad or good, the bad's gonna get you nowhere, because there are no clowns running around in Southwest Detroit. There's none of that clowns. It's the exact opposite. It's a serious, thing. They wouldn't be able to walk around them streets with, clown makeup on and that sort of thing.
We got lucky, because I'm a serial killer clown. But they don't want to shut me up, because if you shut me up, you got to shut them up, and you got to shut them up, and then we're under one big new world order, and that sucks. You know what I mean?
Violent J is very hard to work with. I'm not gonna lie, it's working with Violent J and Billy and Tom Dubb, and there's these three guys that just, you tell they grew up rough, like people maybe made fun of them or they didn't like society, so they treat you that way. I think deep down inside, there's somebody good in all of them, but people like Joey, which is Shaggy, he's a great guy. I have no problems with him or most of the other crew, but it's tough. It's tough working for a band, especially like the Insane Clown Posse. It's really tough.
In Detroit, you've got to make yourself stand out. Whether you love or hate the music, you do have to hand these guys a thumbs up for their marketing savvy, for their work ethic. They really grinded it out in the clubs here for quite a while, and really stuck with what they thought was going to work, and I think it paid off for them.
Wow, it must have been like early, mid-90s, I would say, 92, 93. Yeah, I was working for 96.3. It was a top 40, it was a urban station, part urban, part top 40 music, and they were inner city posse then, and they were a little different. They had a song, I can't even remember the name of it, but we had gotten hold of it at 96.3, and we started to play it a little bit, and I knew these guys had a local buzz. And I'm not quite sure how I got involved with them, but I'd met them a few times, and their manager, Alex, and I went to a couple of their shows, because I had a younger brother. I mean, it really wasn't my, type of music. ICP wasn't really something I was into, but I saw they were local, they were making kind of a splash with the age of kids that would listen to the radio station that I was working on at the time. So I went to some of their shows and some of their wrestling shows, and I checked them out.
When Alex came about with his band, he had a cassette single, I believe at the time. Was it Too Dope single? No, was it Dog Beats, I mean. And I didn't know anything about it. I saw the guy on the cover, the makeup and so forth, and I thought, oh, it's interesting. You didn't think much of it until you see the sales, and the sales took off. And they were still up and coming. I know they had some band and some personnel changes as far as who was in the beginning of the band. You'll see a lot of the old photos at gatherings and on the auction sites to sell the original lineup. But when Violent J and Too Dope got together and then became the force of the band pretty much as I saw it, they would come out to the store here, say, hey, how you doing? Here's our CD, here's our cassette. They were kind of getting into the fact that, hey, there's a little following going here. It probably would have been, it would have been before probably the early 90s, maybe 1990, right around there, when I was at my other store before I moved into this location. And I said, I could see these guys were going to go someplace. They had something there that nobody else did as far as music, merchandising, being unique with the makeup, being unique with their shows, the Faygo Pop thing, the Juggalo thing, the fan club. I mean, one after another, very similar to what Kiss did. It was insanity. Whatever came out sold.
You know, they never gave me a gold record. I kind of helped them a little bit. I got to take some credit. Very, very little, but when I worked at a rock station here, they had a song called Santa is a Fat Bitch. And when I worked at the rock station, people either love ICP or they hate them. There's no really in between. But I knew the value of their drawing power, being a local band as they were. So I went to my program director and said, we should be playing this song, Santa's a Fat Bitch, just because of the fact we're a rock station that's on the edge, and these guys are local, so we might stir something up. So we played it for quite a while. And they say they don't they will always tell you they don't want mainstream. They don't want MTV to play them.
You don't hear us on the radio. You don't see us on nowhere. We do things our own way. You come into our world and you don't like it, get the hell out. I don't go into the opera houses and tell you that they suck. I don't know anything about opera. That's why I leave them alone. You know what I mean? They come into our world, they'll tell you we suck. This music isn't for them. This music is for simply juggalos on the streets, 17, 18-year-old kids on the streets who've been busting their ass all week working. They want to go to a show.
If you don't have a Mike Clark or Atlantic Records or Dr. Dre behind you, none of these guys would be where they're at today.
Mike Clark, in my estimation, is the one saving grace of ICP's music. He's a very talented local producer who's, when you go back and listen to ICP's catalog, each subsequent record, there's a real evolution there in the sound. He's the guy who's really kept some lively dynamics in their sound. And I think when you put on an ICP album and listen on headphones, Mike Clark's work is what you want to listen to because there's a lot going on there. As with everything ICP, they'll tell you the makeup it came as a message from the Dark Carnival. This is their mission in life, is to get on stage dressed in makeup, rapping as clowns, and spraying Faygo soda all over everyone. It's hard to get much more of a straight answer than that from those guys.
Disney can't even stop this giant. Not even the colossal giants they are. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. I grab Mickey and I grab Donald and I bang their heads together wicked clown style because there's no stopping ICP. There's no stopping the Dark Carnival.
See, Mickey Mouse tries to perpetrate, but he's really just a dirty rat in mouse clothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He comes from the alley sewers. And he's just as filthy and rotten as the wicked clowns. You know what I'm saying? He just tries hiding it with a little pink nose and sock that pink nose off his face.
That's right.
I came to Detroit in 1995, so by that point, ICP had already evolved from inner city Posse into Insane Clown Posse, and were well on their way to establishing a big regional fan base, touring the Midwest, making a name in the small clubs around here. Within a couple years, they had broken out nationally. Disney pulled their album off of store shelves. Island Records picked them up, and they've become something of a national force. Their latest album debuted at #2 here in the States.
We first released the record like a regular band releases records, and then they go touring off it. And that only lasted 6 hours. Then they pulled the record off the shelves and tried to silence the Juggalos. Not a chance in hell. We found a record label within a week. We would have found a record label within a day, but we was picky about it. And we went with Island because there's about 40 hot chicks working at Island, and that influenced us that was the place for the wicked clowns. So next thing you know, we're on Island Records. We release the album and jump right back on the road like a regular band. I want to release the album and I want to tour. That's all I want to do. I don't care about nothing else, you know? And just because our lyrics are ruthless, hey, they came into our world.
St. Clown Posse just brought a brand new real tour bus, and we gave away the old and St. Clown Posse Hard Times tour bus to our fans. We had a contest, and the fans that sent in the best photo of various things, and we judged them all. And these guys from Kalamazoo, Michigan won this old school camper that was painted black and stickered with all kinds of ICP decals and 102 liters of Faygo Cola. I'd probably say it's probably worth about $20,000 or $25,000.
Alex and I actually did this on our own because Alex and I's similarities is we wanted to do this for the fans. He wanted to do it for the fans. So did I. The label wanted, their preference would have been to a chain store or a larger location, and we had no support, you know, advertising-wise. So Alex and I got together and said, "The heck of it, we're doing it on our own." And Alex says, "Well, we're going to bring the biggest, baddest in-store you've ever seen, and we're doing it the heck with everybody else." And that's what we did. They brought the House of Horrors setup. We set up over in the other room over here. They brought a huge crew out. We had tour buses. It was just exciting as can be, all on our own. And then Alex was loyal to me, saying, "Hey, this store, you know, independent as I am, one store, he's helped us from the get-go. We want to put the in-store here. You know, the heck with the chain stores, the heck with what the label wants to do." So we set it up. That was last year, and it was absolutely crazy. The excitement was out because, you know, of the CD still. I think the timing was perfect. The crowd gathered. I'll never forget. It was a day before. Let's see. Assuming, well, according to the flyer, I think it was a 5 o'clock time. I think I had people gathering about midnight the prior night. I was in the store working after hours, and I see this lineup of people that went down the side and across the front, and that was about 1 or 2 in the morning the previous day. By the time we got back opening 11 o'clock, it was wrapped around the building and down the block, and that just kept going and going and going. And I knew this was going to get real crazy. It took about 6.5 hours to get through the crowd. Everybody had a great time. The ICP and the management, you know, gave out Faygo Pop. If you wore makeup, you get your Faygo Pop, your stickers. Merchandising was always one of their pluses, which is good for promoting a band. They've always had something, sticker giveaways, something that you can only get through them that you can't get through anywhere else. Very smart way of doing things. And it was a lot of fun. It was insanity. There was Faygo Pop every which way. Everybody was dressed up. It was one good, you know, sometimes it gets a little crazy, but that's part of, you know, ICP.
ICP is a really easy group for critics to attack. It's bombastic, it's over the top, it's juvenile and adolescent. But these guys, there is a sharpness and a wit to the music that's in there somewhere. There is a tongue-in-cheek element, I think, to it, as much as they tout their dark carnival image and really the gory imagery that's such a part of their approach. There's a sense of humor underlying a lot of it, I think, and I think the fans get that.
We're on tour in every city. Chants are breaking out. Fuck Disney before we go on. I don't want ICP to be all about Disney. You know what I'm saying? I don't want all that following us everywhere we go. I want to do things our own way. Just because Mickey Mouse is an infested little street rat, I don't want them to chant that every time I'm going on stage. I don't care about Mickey Mouse. I'll smack him in his face. Michael Eisner, the king of Disney, has got everybody under his wing living in fear. He's not the king of me.
My name is Carly. My persona is Choco, as it says right here, Choco. I've written them about 25 letters, maybe a dozen rhymes, happens May, April, I don't know. Why? Because I love them. I love them because they're from Detroit, because they've got the politics that I like, and they're very fucking funny.
Bottom line is this. Hollywood Records is a good record company. They probably have gold and plat ones chilling on the wall. But the deal is, every time they get into something good, Disney comes and stops them. Disney's like the father to the label. And every time Hollywood gets something good, Disney comes and smacks them around. This is the deal, brother. What they need to do, Hollywood Records and Disney, they need to get the hell out of the music business. Because this is what music is like now. They can put out the Mary Poppins soundtracks all they want on Disney Records. But don't cover up Disney and call it Hollywood Records and try to mess with today's music. Remember, they came to us. Do we send them a demo? They came to us. We were on Jive Records. Hollywood came to us. They said, we want to sign you guys. We said, we're with Jive for 5 more albums. They said, we want the band. So they bought our contract off Jive. People don't even know that. They bought our contract off Jive. They get paid an override from Hollywood, Jive does, to give them the rights to Insane Clown Posse. We don't care. Now we're chilling on Hollywood. We're like, I don't care if I'm on Butthole Records. I don't give a damn. I just want to release albums and sell records. That's all we're here for.
And don't let Disney fool you. They're still making money off the Wicked Clowns, though.
Oh, yeah.
They'll keep that in the
For
closet.
us to go to Island, we had to pay Hollywood an override. So every album we sell, Disney still gets paid. They just took their name off it, that's all, you know what I mean? But Disney has their hand in every cookie jar. They own ESPN, they own Miramax Films, they want to get paid off everybody. It don't matter if it's the Wicked Clowns or not. They want to get paid off everything.
Okay, they're also promoting people being kinder to each other, people not being racist, and, you know, rich people not holding on to all their stuff. Because other people are in need and rich people have too much, and that's a fact of it.
We had every record company. We were flying back and forth from New York to LA like royalty. Just choosing the label we wanted. Island Record had 40 hot chicks working there. That was my inspiration. But my manager wanted to go there because Island Record believes in the band and believes in the talent. We don't have any talent, but they believe in what we do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to call that talent. Island Records believes in the band, and that's why we went with them. A lot of people wanted to cash in on the present controversy. Who put the record out tomorrow? You guys are all over the news. Everybody will love you. You know, we want to, with the longevity of the band, who's going to be around 2 albums from now? You know what I mean? Island Records believes in that. Island Records is just that, a record company. They're in the world of music. They're with Polygram, owned by Polygram. They are in a music world. Disney is in a Snow White world. Don't come into the music world and try to sign us, put us out, yank us off the shelves, gank us here and there. You know what I mean? Get the hell out of the music business. That's why we went with Island. They know what they're doing.
If I was ICP, what would I do next? Personally, I'm sure they have enough money to do whatever they want. At some point, I would say hang it up. And the way I would, this is just me, if I had the kind of money they're making, it's hard to say if I was them because I'm not in their place and I don't know how much fun they're having or I don't know how big of a pain in the ass it is now for them. But at some point, I'm the kind of person that says, okay, I've done what I wanted to do. It's hard to walk out of the limelight, I'm sure. But I want to live on a Caribbean island or have a catamaran like in the Virgin Islands and just live the rest of my life without worrying about if you know, I have an audition or if I'm selling enough records or if I need to do this music video, because at some point it becomes way too much. You know, I just think some people have a hard time stepping out of the limelight. But when you make enough money, how much money is enough? You know, if you can't live on $2 or $3 million, then you definitely have problems. So at that point, if you're still having fun, I'd say I'd still do it. But if you're not, if it's become a hassle, take the money and run.
And rock and roll is always a step above what's happening elsewhere. When everybody went nuts when Elvis started shaking his pelvis, big deal. This is rock and roll. Rock and roll is always extreme. Rock and roll is always ruthless.
They were doing wrestling before it was real mainstream as it is now. And they like it. They're like big wrestling fans themselves. So they had enough money to say, hey, let's dabble in this wrestling. So they would throw shows here in Detroit, like insane. Before ECW, which is Extreme Championship Wrestling, before they were Extreme, ICP would do shows here like St. Andrews Hall.
Oh, yeah!
For the ICP fans, it's different than a typical wrestling fan. ICP fans want to see blood and hardcore, and they want to see lots of scars and black eyes and cuts and bruises. The typical wrestling fan, I think, wants to see naked girls, good acting. But I think the ICP wrestling fans wanted to see just literally us beating the shit out of each other.
They want to see the violence. You know, that's what they're there to see.
Their video, the wrestling video was hilarious. I never laughed so hard in my life when it came out. They said, we've got this new video. You've got to see this thing. I go, what is it? Oh, it's just a bunch of really cheap, cheesy wrestling, and we're going to do some narration over it. And when it came in, I called Alex right up. I said, what in the heck did you guys do now? This is by far the funniest thing I've ever seen. And to date, we've probably sold 500, maybe more. And they come up with number 2, and they've got the one that's out now. And Stranglemania was just, as far as the wrestling thing, was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It was just something different, you know. People weren't used to seeing it. When JCW's first video came out, it went on Billboard at number 2, and people all around the wrestling world were just amazed, and a lot of people looked at JCW, and a lot of promotions started to use the same types of stuff that we've been using, like the staple gun, for example. It's a very deadly weapon. Got a few scars up here from it, blood. And just pretty much went from there.
The guys would come in with barbed wire bats, real barbed wire bats, not rubber tips, and they would have thumbtack matches, and they'd have table matches, and these guys would get cut up pretty good. So when I saw this must have been 5, 6 years ago, I was like, man, these guys are crazy. It wasn't ICP doing this, but they would bring like these nuts in from out of the state to do these, just, mangle their bodies.
I'm a referee all over the United States. Refereed for Juggalo Championship Wrestling. ICP came to me and they said, Brian Gorey, we want you to be the promoter for our JCW, because they wanted to start their own wrestling promotion, because they had been to the WWF, they'd been to WCW, they'd been to ECW. Right now they're back in WCW, but they've pretty much burned their bridges a lot in the wrestling business. But they decided, they wanted their own wrestling promotion for their own fans, so they came to me.
The Big Flame is like, the best way to describe him is he's a homosexual, but he's from the ghetto. So being a ghetto homosexual would mean that he doesn't take no crap from nobody.
The referees definitely get hurt in JCW, yes.
Well, I was actually on a tour with ICP. I was working as their bodyguard, and we were planning on this tour, JCW, Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And we decided what would be a great character to go against ICP. You have the baby faces and the heels, and of course they're going to be the baby faces, we be the heels. So what better going against ICP than to pick like a homosexual or something that they make fun of in their music.
A lot of wrestlers were bloody every night, so they had scars all over. One wrestler on the tour, he actually lost his mind. He was experiencing with some drugs, some mushrooms, and that caused him to lose his mind. We had to send him home from the tour because he didn't know what he was doing. He was throwing his own property off the bus, throwing the bus's property off the bus, just walking around naked. It was one of the funnier times on the tour.
The highlights would have to be the women, even though I'm a homosexual. The women definitely were the highlight. Hanging out with girls, partying. I'd wrestle in front of crowds, 3,000, 4,000 people. I mean, when you're an independent wrestler and that's kind of like your first gig, your first break, I've done a TV show here in the United States and this and that, but I had never went on a full-scale tour where every state it was a big crowd and they chant and they hate you. It was great just being around the crowd. The whole thing was actually really good. 4,000
people in a building chanting faggot at you is a funny memory from the tour. Getting destroyed each and every single night by ICP, and just the crowd appreciates that kind of thing when you risk your life for them.
Foreign objects used against us were the fans had thrown piss on us, batteries, rolled quarters. I got hit in the head with a transistor radio. We were definitely hated. I mean, I definitely miss all the guys. I just had one of the wrestlers came up for court last night, Madman Pondo. I haven't seen him since the tour. And I stayed the night, and I went to court this morning, and it was great just seeing him again. We all bonded as family. We all stay in touch. Yeah, I'd go on in a heartbeat again just to be with the guys.
We've played it in the store here over and over and over again. The customers love it. People that never knew who ICP was bought the video based on how insane it was. And they've got a personality. There's something about the two of them that, which goes good with wrestling and music, I guess, that they put on a heck of a show. I don't know, give them credit. They're good at what they do.
Well, actually, it's supposed to be a secret, but maybe by the time this comes out, as you might have heard, there's a certain wrestler that's in the WCW that's left, and he's going to start his own promotion on the Fox Network. And I've been contacted, me and my roommate, to play the homosexual characters on the Fox Network sitcom. So, looking like that's what's going to be in my future, is the new sitcom coming out on Fox.
Insane Clown Posse to Disney, it's like a fungus. Only thing is, we're growing now, and we're gonna cover the whole earth in our wicked fungus. There's no stopping us, and Disney knows that now. They had to learn the hard way.
So we'll just be on Disney's conscience, you know?
That's right.
Let Disney fear the wicked clowns, you know? Let them fear us, because we're coming for them, and we're gonna show everybody what they're about, you know?
You can't stop what we do. I don't care if it's Disney, I don't care if it's the government. I can't even be killed right now. I could get hit by a Mack truck, I'm immortal. I'll wake up the next day. There's no stopping this. It's censorship in America. It's not about us. It's about people. People don't want any censorship, even if they don't agree. I've got women groups behind us that hate our music but don't want to see anybody censored. You know what I'm saying? That's the bottom line, and that's why it's a beautiful thing.
I got a letter from the director of their video, Big Money Hustlers, via the Jerry Springer show, which I had appeared on representing the big girls in the stripping industry. I was a stripper for a private entertainment company. They thought I might be perfect for the part of Missy because she is a big stripper, which I had no problem doing. And if I was interested, to contact them. And when I read the letter, I was like, yes, I'm interested. Called them up right away and spoke with them on the phone. And I had a character that I do strip shows as. On the internet, I have a bunch of different characters I portray, and one of them has bright pink hair, and her name was Cotton Candy. And she just, somebody had seen the show from their office, so to speak, and put in the word into the ear that this would be the perfect person. We wouldn't have to do anything because she already does it. Basically, Missy is Cotton Candy, which means she is, instead of being your typical blonde airhead, she's a pink airhead. In my first scene, I strip, and then I go to the bar and he buys me a slice of pizza, which I eat, and we get into some conversation. And then the next scene, we're in my bedroom and I primp myself up a bit to look pretty for him, and then jump onto the bed and we make mad passionate love. Making love to a bigger woman is better than making love to a skinny woman because there's lots of nice, soft, natural cushioning, and you won't get bruised by bones sticking into you. So how do I feel about 13-year-olds putting their hands down their trousers and getting some enjoyment over me? I don't feel bad about it. I feel good about it. 13-year-olds are going to do that, and they're going to do it to me. They're going to do it to girls they see in swimsuits, and this way it gives them a more healthier aspect of just because a person is big doesn't mean that they're not attractive. They were filming the next shockumentary that will be coming out, And so they're walking around with the video camera with the sign, and they chant, even at the concerts. I've been to a few concerts. People start chanting, "Show your tits, show your tits." And when they were coming by the booths, I would shout, "Missy, show your tits." So in the video, the movie, the lowest I go to is I have on pasties. So I'm swinging with pasties. So I said, "Okay, you've seen him with the pasties on, and now you can see him for real." And I just, you know, dropped it down and shook him. I said, "There you go." That was a lot of fun.
Well, from what I understand, they got a tour coming. I think they're doing something in December with Cottonmouth Kings, I believe. They just did the Juggalo Gathering, which was there in Novi, Michigan, and that apparently was crazy. 2 of my employees went to it and said it was just insane, as you said, as the name would go. They're always coming up with ideas, and it used to amaze me. I'll call up there and say, "What's the new merchandising?" or "What's the new thing that's going to hit? A new CD or something." And what they'll do is Alex will never get, and the band, of course, and the manager, they'll never get to a standstill. They'll always get to something, whether it's a CD, a video, any idea they can come up with to keep the band going, which is perfect. And you never know. You never know what's going to come up. Nothing surprises me, from Fat Sweaty Betty to when he came out with that one, I said, "What in the heck is this thing?" You know, and it was a little, well, the fans will know what that's all about.
If you spend enough time around ICP, tempers are going to fly, people are going to get mad, and some sort of soap opera is going to ensue. So, no, not really surprised that they ditched Mike.
What do I think? One last thing to say, not about Detroit so much, but just the nation. Hey, thank you, Disney.